disliked being compared to their famous original. Mikhail tapped his crooked nose. It's the nose. I broke it in the academy, and I smile more than my father. Crow's feet, laugh lines, those kinds of things. Hayward eyed him. I wouldn't have thought it would make that much difference, but I suppose it does. Ivan always looks like he has a lemon shoved up his ass. Your hair is darker, too. He spends more time in the sun. Ah! Hayward gave a slight grunt of understanding, adding a wave toward the black of space beyond the dry dock's great soap bubble shield. Nope, not much sun up here. Hayward dismissed the Washingtonians. Their conversation was going to be private, or at least that was how Hayward wanted it to appear. You took heavy losses during your last intel run? Hayward led off with questions instead of explaining where the drive came from. More proof that it was going to be tied somehow to Mikhail's future. How do you stand now? Are you at full strength? Had Hayward been trying to get Mikhail to lower his guard? The truth was that while Hayward had been at the palace often, Mikhail would not have called him a friend of the family. My ship is fully repaired, Mikhail said carefully. My Red Commander is picking up replacements for the men I lost. Hayward nodded blandly, but there was a tightening around his mouth as if the news was bad. Any time you take on large numbers of Reds, you end up with dominance issues. So Hayward was going to want him to ship out immediately. I have no concerns. Mikhail put steel into his words. Most captains made the mistake of pulling replacements from multiple creches, which resulted in all the Reds vying with each other. Mikhail deliberately tapped only one creche at a time, so the replacements already had an established dominance order. The infighting was kept to a fight between the leader of the creche Reds and his foster brother, Turk, who was his Red commander. Hayward waited for him to add more, but Mikhail wouldn't weaken his position by trying to justify his statement. Instead, Mikhail took command of the discussion, pointing to the drive. Where did that come from? It warped into local Plymouth space 78 hours ago. A crew went out to clear it, and when they realized what it was, they brought it in. 78 hours. Allowing for Hayward's travel time to Plymouth meant that Hayward's choice of the Swoboda wasn't based on convenience. There were many ships closer. Come on, Hayward said. I want you to see this firsthand. As they stepped into the confines of the airlock, Hayward said, You'll have to get your nose fixed before taking over for your father. It makes you look too much like a Red. Mikhail nodded to the last statement. That was what he liked about his skewed nose. At the time, he merely just didn't want to look like Victor or his father anymore. That it gained him respect from the battle-torn Reds was now the main reason he didn't get it fixed. Besides, he wasn't sure he wanted to inherit his father's position. Considering the mess he'd made of his life, it was also unclear if the Loyalist Party would allow him. That was the whole point of him being the captain of a warship. If he became a military hero, his early misadventures might be overlooked. The airlock opened to the dry dock, which was under pressure but still at zero gravity. A skimmer was waiting to take them across the vast floor, touching down and locking into place just short of the rocky edge. The dry dock's floodlights cast multiple shadows of the drive on them, layering them in shades of gray. The rock gave way to fist-sized objects, seemingly organic in nature, clustered tight together. The creatures reeked like dead fish. Under their stench was another odor, something elusively familiar, but he couldn't name it. The band of organisms was 3 meters wide, ending in a durasteel housing, which was coated with a rough layer of white powder. A fine grit drifted in a halo around the base. Mikhail moved closer to scoop a handful of grit out of the air. He rubbed it between his fingers. This is sand. This rock is coral. Mikhail recognized the underlying smell now, the briny scent of something long soaked in the salt water. The white powder could be salt crusting the steel. 3 different species of coral, all trademarked, which made them Earth species adapted for terraforming purposes. So far, we picked 32 life forms.